The lights went out cause you kept cutting the cord, and I started to fade into your gray. See, I finally opened up my eyes, and I saw me coming back to life. That I'd be better without you inside. It's time to be someone I wanna recognize. The future starts right now. I made a reservation, but you never came, so I'm checking out. The fire you stole away, I know one day we'll come back around. The future is now. The future is now. The future is now. I waited for you in the passenger seat. There's only so far I can ride in your dreams. While you were chasing everything else but me, I'm starting to break out from your gray. See, I finally opened up my eyes, and I saw me coming back to life. That I'd be better without you inside. It's time to be someone I wanna recognize. The future starts right now. I made a reservation, but you never came, so I'm checking out. The fire you stole away, I know one day we'll come back around. The future is now. The future is now. I'm not backing down, cause the future is now. Not backing down, cause the future is now. The future starts right now. I made a reservation, but you never came, so I'm checking out. The fire you stole away, I know one day we'll come back around. The future is now. The future is now. The future is now.
Hello, and welcome to another live stream episode of the Better Man Show. Hi, I'm BK. My name is BK. If we are friends, it shouldn't surprise you, but if we're not friends, don't be a stranger. Wherever I'm popping up on your radar, just hit me up and add me as a friend. Happy to make a new friend. So you were listening to a song called The Future Is Now. Quite literally, the future is now. And the future is now in things like live streaming, live broadcasting, and all those things, right? So, and that's why I've been building some live stream muscles, right? And if you are here for the first time and wondering what this is all about, this is day 92 of my personal 100-day live stream challenge. So exactly 92 days ago, I kind of had this, actually more than 92 days ago, but I started 92 days ago. I had this sudden inkling of an idea that, hey, maybe I should do a 100-day challenge. Now, it was purely for self-discipline at that time, but it has evolved over time. And I'm so glad to have done it because I have learned so much over the past 92 days, right? And today's topic, I kind of want to talk about how can we gather up today to invest in our tomorrows, right? I just want to share a new habit. So this live stream is a 92-day habit already, and I'm actually kind of starting a new habit that I would like to share with you. And I also find that because once I start doing that, it kind of tells my me somehow, right, that this is something that I am serious about and I should really pay strong attention to. And I just wanted to share that with you. And if you have watched some of the earlier other live stream episodes, this idea is called journaling. It's something that I've learned and picked up recently, and I've kind of regret that it was not something that I started earlier. So journaling is one of the ways that you can really truly gather up your today's, your experiences, so that it can be invested into your tomorrows, right? The lessons you learn from today, the lessons that you experience today, and so on. Now, some of you may already be journaling experts, and if you are, please stay on the show still and give me some feedback and comments, and I'm happy to learn from your experience, right? So that is definitely something I would love to hear from, right? But if you are new to this world, then come along and join with me, because I am also totally new. It's not something I have honestly been conscientiously doing for a long time, but it is something that I am decided that I want to do conscientiously from now on, right? So this is another new habit that I want to step into. Now, instead of me talking about it, I want to show you some of the resources that I have come to really enjoy. And these people are experts in this area, as far as I can tell, right? And I'm learning from them. So just wanted to share my research and my resources into this area with you. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so the first one, I think you can see my screen. Yes, you can definitely see my screen. So the first one is I kind of got um, into this or motivated by uh, one of my favorite speakers, Jim Rohn. He's kind of one of those acknowledged personal development, self personal development, success development gurus, right? And I've always enjoyed his trainings and his speeches and his audibles. Now, he believes strongly in journaling, and in fact, in one of his sessions that he talks about journaling, he sometimes people ask him, because one of his more recent journals that he bought was a leather bound, very expensive journal, and somebody asked him, "Why did you pay so much for an empty book?" And then he said, "I am paying so much for an empty book because this book is going to house $1 million ideas." Now, I thought that was an amazing reply, right? So he actually invests and buys pretty expensive leather bound journals. Okay, that's entirely up to you. I'm not saying that you have to start journaling that way. In fact, I'm going to show you that my approach is a little bit different. But please go and check out Jim Rohn. This is one of the free resources here. You can see. Now, if you don't want to the hassle of jotting all this thing down, just send me a message. I'm happy to send you the resources that I've gathered over the course of my personal research, and I'm happy to send them your way. Okay, so just drop me a private message. Now, so just take a look at this. He also has a 1 hour audible, which is journaling, and again, that is also wonderful. I've learned so much from that, and this is my starting point. So this is my starting point. Now, so whatever method you use, just choose something that it will help you get going. So it could be a physical book, something you carry with you all the time. But lately, these days, this is something we carry with us all the time as well, right? Or an iPad. So you could also start journaling on a digital format using a phone or an iPad, with an Apple Pencil, or something that I've recently discovered and I find myself enjoying using it a lot is this one, Obsidian. Obsidian is a note-taking application that is designed for computers. But for now, it is only for the computer and only for the Mac OS. But there are similar ones out there that you can try. Roam Research, you can try Notion, you can try all this. But I found myself gravitating towards Obsidian because it just it's just a joy to use. It's simple to use and it's a joy to use, right? Let me quickly show you what it looks like. Obsidian. So this is Obsidian. So this is Obsidian. And I'm not going to show you my personal journals because obviously they are personal journals, right? But as you can see, when I first got started, obviously this is called the graph view. And initially there was nothing. So this graph view is interesting because you can actually, you can shrink it. You can, of course, right now it's still pretty small. So for a second brain project, this is quite a small brain. It will grow. I can guarantee you, it will grow now. But what is interesting is that you notice that there are links. If you highlight over them, for example, this is my home page, and then the home page connects to. Let me just zoom it in for you so you can see. So the home page connects to things that are currently of interest to me, right? So for example, you can see journaling, leadership, ambition, live streams, projects, sleep, and food, right? So these are some of the things that are interest to me right now. So they are linking to my home page. And then if you see these are all journal entries, so January 17, 18, and so on, right? Then the projects and all those things. So it is a map, a visual map of what you are doing now. And then how do you then create a note? Creating a note is simple. All you need to do is you can click either here, right? You can click the icons on the left, or shortcut key, which is easy, which is just Apple, and which is new, right? So this is an untitled note. You can always title it whatever you want, and then you just start typing, right? Now I'm going to show you something interesting now. So this is the typing on the left, and the right is actually the how it looks when it's formatted in a sense. So for example, I could actually have a header here, and this is a header, and you notice that it looks like that, right? And then maybe I want to have a subheader, say for example, the thoughts for now, right? So I just have a subheader, say which is header number 3, right? So I just want to say uh, live stream day 92, right? And then you can start typing your notes for the day, right? So today I shared with everyone about Obsidian, right? And you can also do simple things like bullet points, right? So it's easy, it's fun, it's free, right? And then of course you can also have things like hashtags, and this is a hashtag for podcast. So once you do this, it actually creates links inside here right away for you. It's linked to something here. So for example, because I have a hashtag here, it actually will link to something inside here, which is in green. So these are all the hashtags. So these are all the hashtags of the episodes or the notes that has a hashtag of this thing. So this is Obsidian. Wonderful way of taking notes, and it's been a joy to use. Okay, it's been a joy to use. So how then did I get started on this? So once again, this is free. This is 100% free to use, and if you want to know, just download it and just play around with it, and it's that simple to use. Okay, so let's just move this to the end first. So I got started on Obsidian via this channel, this YouTube channel called Linking Your Thinking by Nick Milo. So this is one of the channels. And if you go to his playlist, right, you can see that there is actually one on Obsidian for beginners. So it's going to start playing. Hang on, let me stop it first. So this is Linking Your Thinking for Obsidian, and it's actually a series of very simple to follow tutorial on Obsidian. So this is one good way and good fast way to start learning how to use Obsidian. Okay, then of course I dive a little bit deeper into looking at all these things and how I can use Obsidian even better. And I came across the second person that I really found interesting. This is Brian Jenks. Brian Jenks. He is actually a programmer, but he's also quite an expert in terms of productivity and research. And he has also been very upfront about the fact that he actually has ADHD, and he explains how all these note-taking applications like Obsidian kind of helps him to be productive in spite of having ADHD, right? So that is a very inspiring thing as well. So Brian Jenks, of course, in his videos, talks about Obsidian as well as some other programming stuff which might be of interest or not of interest to you. He explains his workflow in terms of how he uses Obsidian and how he uses the concept of Zettelkasten, which is again one philosophy of note taking. So do check him out, Brian Jenks. This is definitely something that I've learned a lot from him as well. He has some interesting workflow. So, for example, like this part about the tags, this tagging thing, this is something that I learned from him. Okay, the next one, another interesting channel is Notes with Ren. This is a university student. She has a growing channel right now, and she talks about technology and note taking. And she does have, see, like this video is about journaling with Obsidian. She also talks about how and why students should use or can use Obsidian for their studies, right? So if you are a university student or you have children who are university students, perhaps recommend this channel to them, and they could find Obsidian very useful for their studies, right? Because Ren actually talks a lot about that and how it helps her in her graduate studies, right? So this is a useful channel. Of course, it certainly helps that she has a very pleasant voice while she does the videos. Okay, so that's another good channel. The next one that I came across is this called Effective Remote Work. This is a channel that talks not just about Obsidian, but anything that is relevant to things like remote working, right? So again, one good channel, but obviously because Obsidian is a growing uh, note-taking app that has kind of gained momentum. It is actually very popular amongst some of the digital note-taking people. So obviously you could check them out, right? So this is another good channel that you can explore. Now there are a lot more, but I don't have time to. I didn't want to go through everything. So again, once again, if you do want to kind of like you want to shortcut your process and you just want to have a list of all these resources, right? Just hit me up. I'm happy to send you the resources that I've gathered over this past couple of days, right? And last but not least, the thing about journaling is that sometimes you're kind of at a loss. For example, like here, okay, when you look at a blank note, let me just close this first. And so files. So this was an untitled note. Yeah. So for example, when you start a note, sometimes it is a little bit intimidating when it is blank like this. Trust me, it is sometimes. And so it's useful to have what they call journaling prompts. That means questions that get you started, like what are some of the questions that you may want to have here. So for example, so what that's what I was trying to find, right? So this last one here, this is Lavender. I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. This is she's quite a popular. She has quite a popular channel on YouTube as well. You could definitely check her out. But here she is an influencer in the world of journaling. Okay, of course she does a lot more in terms of physical journals and books. But what I find interesting is if you go to resources, you could actually sign up for her journaling prompts or even her journaling courses. And then there's a download of a PDF that has got like 50 or 30 journaling prompts. Things like, questions like what does an ideal day look like for you? There's a me before and after, so me now versus me 5 years down the road. So these are some of the journaling prompts that might be useful for you as you look at the day. Of course, Some very other common prompts are like, what are you grateful for today? What worked today? What is the problem today? And stuff like that. So a lot of very good journaling prompts. Some are for business, some are for strategy, some are for self-reflection. There's even some prompts for personal recovery, and so on, right? So there's a lot of interesting ones, too many for me to cover now. But basically, what I'm saying is that if you need a prompt to help you so that you are not staring at a empty, for example, hang on. Oops. I just close it. Yeah, I just closed it. Sorry about that. Da, da, da. So this is how it looks like when it's loading up the note space. Yeah. So for example, you could be, when you start a new note, it looks like this, and it can be daunting. So it's always a good idea to have like prompts that can get you going, and then it guides you along on what you can start to journal about, right? Whether you want to use a digital one or you want to use a physical note journal, that's entirely up to you. Do something that you can, what Jim Rohn says, start a journal that you can carry around with you all the time. That's always the first thing, because once you carry it around, that is the beginning of a habit, right? So for me, I do have a mixed approach to this. I have an iPad that I also write in physically, but then I transfer some of the thoughts inside there into a digital format that can then be backed up and uploaded. And this is now sitting on iCloud for me, so that I can access it from anywhere in the world if I have a brand new computer or something like that. So again, just to show you, this is growing. It was a lot smaller when I first started, but you can see now that it's starting to make links and connections and shows you like what could be some of the things that. So what will happen over time as you look at this graph is that the things that has got a lot of links to it, the circles will grow larger. And so from a graphical point of view, you would then be able to see at a glance perhaps what are some things that are important to you that you should be paying attention to. And also sometimes it also surfaces hidden connections that you didn't quite realize were important, which is why a lot of people like this graphical view, and it's a relationship view of your brain, right? So because this is exactly how our brain works, exactly how the brain functions. So this is me sharing about my journey in starting a new habit called journaling. And like I said, the reason why I like to share something like this in this way is because once you start sharing, what happens is that it kind of becomes more real. And that's why I wanted to share this for today's short live stream. Thank you for joining me on day 92. If you are also journaling and have been journaling for a while, man, please share with me your tips and tricks and things that you have been using and found useful, right? And perhaps everyone can then learn together and benefit from your experience as well. I certainly have found it fun and interesting, getting going, and there's a lot more to learn. And of course, end of the day, most importantly is the fact that you can gather up your todays such that it can be invested into your tomorrows, which is why journaling is important. Now imagine in a year or 2 years or 3 years, and as you look back on each of your entries, you would definitely glean so much of things that you may not have remembered. Facebook has an interesting feature, which is memories, right? And it's always interesting because, in a sense, sometimes Facebook is like a digital diary of sorts. Because sometimes they remind you of something you posted like a year or 5 years or 10 years ago, if you have been on Facebook for that long. And then what happens is that it suddenly yeah, I didn't even remember that was something I posted. Like today, it reminded me of something that I posted 9 years ago, that wasn't actually very pleasant, but it's fine because then you know and learn that you have grown and you have reflected and you have moved on from something like that, right? So this is called the Better Man Show because this is documenting a journey to help every one of us, if you're keen on the journey, to become the best versions of ourselves for 2021 and beyond, right? So thank you so much for joining me on day 92. I will see you tomorrow for day 93. We are in the home stretch.